Hey guys, Dave from Nerdarchy here. For nerds, by nerds, hanging out with some of the colleagues.
I'm Ted.
I'm Nate.
And today we're going to talk about, this is a especially good topic, I believe, for new DMs. Anxiety as a DM and you know, what it's like to be behind the screen. And hopefully this will encourage you guys that are thinking about GMing to just get behind the screen and drop some dice and make it happen. Because here's the thing, right? You're always under pressure when you're the GM, when you're the DM. Like, I've been playing this game for 30 years now, and I still get anxious when I'm getting ready to run a game. I mean, especially now in Nerdarchy, because we record all of our games, and we're doing online games, and you know, my awareness of the community online has risen drastically since we started doing this. Right. And in particular, like, I remember when I was doing a one-shot for Race Day in Sharn. It was an Eberron game, and it was the centerpiece was the Four Winds Race, is like this annual event that happens in Eberron. And you know, people start signing up for the game, and you were there, and Ryan was there, and Auntie M. No, and you know, next thing I know, Lloyd, the RLDM, I run Viking campaigns. Collins, you know, signs up for my game, and then also Be a Better Game Master Barker from the Provoker signs up for my game, and I was feeling a little anxious, to be honest with you. I'm like, oh my god, these guys are like heavyweights.
SR2 Joker came into that game as well, and he's another YouTuber.
Oh yeah, was he in that game?
Yeah, he was the Aarakocra. Oh no, that's sorry.
That was a different game.
He was in a different game. My apologies.
Yeah, he wasn't actually in that game.
Don't have the game lists memorized.
Yeah, but you know, so any of you guys, if you've been watching the Provokers or you're familiar with Barker from Be a Better Game Master, the guy's a phenomenal role player, and I'm like, I saw him pop into the game. I'm like, oh my god, I got to bring my A game now. Like, you know, the guy is freaking amazing. Mm-hmm. And you know, of course, Lloyd as well is an awesome role player and GM as well. So you know, so the point is, as a DM, after doing this for so long, you still, like, you're going to stand up or sit behind that screen, and you're going to put forth a story for these people. You're going to try to entertain these people, and you know, ultimately, you know, your goal is to do that. And if you don't, you're going to feel like a failure, right? and you're going to feel like you're being. Everyone is going to feel like they're being judged while they're getting ready to run their game. Right. Hopefully, you know, as you actually get into it, you can just settle into the game and play the game and have fun, and that's where you want to get to, because that's how it always is for me. Once I start, then I'm in, you know, like you become the dungeon master, and you know, you do your thing.
Yeah, when we did Philly's Game Con, when I was going to start that first game in the afternoon, I barely made it by like 5 minutes. It felt like. Sat down, got all my stuff. The room is insanely loud with all the games going on.
And you're looking around at the table and you're like, holy fuck, I don't know any of these people.
It's like,
they're going to hate me.
I don't know any of these people. Well, I haven't started yet. I could still run outside. I mean, like, I could just go. There's a big hotel. Who would find me? And that's, you know, a decade and a half of DMing and playing, and it's still like that kind of jitteriness at the beginning. I think that's kind of normal.
Absolutely.
And it's just saying, you know, when you get down to it, start, because it all goes away quick when you start, because you're just like, well,
I think if you don't get that, like, when you first start, especially if you're playing with people you haven't played with before, if you don't get that feeling, you're probably not even human.
So here's a couple other things. A couple other things to look at. Number one, if you play D&D, you've seen the other side of the screen. You know what the players are going to expect. Once you decide to flip and run the screen, run from behind the screen, there's a good chance that the people you're playing with, they're already your friends, they're already people you've gamed with, and you know, they're not going to look down on you as a player. They're not going to, you know, I don't want to say they're not going to criticize, because I don't know who your friends are, and I've known some people that, you know, they swing a harsh sword of criticism.
What are you talking about, Ted? I don't know what you mean at all.
Well, I know something that we've said about, you know,
we
other
toss
DMs.
Fluffy bunny pillows at you.
You know.
We don't know. No harsh criticism.
How you know, what does the sentence, the PCC invoke in you guys?
We'll live in infamy forever.
That was from my my friend Matt out there. That was something he literally read off of the.
Well, with that's a good point. Like, you know what, you're gonna have flubs, you're gonna fuck things up at times, but you know what, laugh at it and move on.
So you have to start somewhere is the point that I'm getting to. And even if your first campaign doesn't go over well, learn from your mistakes and watch other DMs. Nowadays, with all of the online gaming that's out there, all of the recorded games that's out there, you can just watch other DMs and see what they do when it's time to be behind the screen. The prep stuff, there's tools and things out there that will help you with that. We've got loads of videos that talk about being able to prepare materials and whatever have you. So there's resources that you can access to. So there's no point in not trying. I've gamed with people who've been doing this 3 decades, and I'm currently in a game with a brand new DM. She's running for the first time. We played session 2 literally just the other night. So you just sit back and you give everyone a chance and allow them to explore their craft. And whenever possible, if you need to seek guidance, do so. Talk to somebody, find someone and say, look, I've got this issue with my game, or I'm having trouble with this aspect. If you don't reach out and get help, you might flounder, but it's out there. Do it.
Couple points. One, when you guys are running your games, especially for the first time, just thank God you're not Nerdarchy. Because literally, right, we went to Gamescom and people went there just to game with us.
Right. Yeah, that was a bit intimidating.
It was. We do this thing and we're on YouTube and we're kind of like, we kind of don't see ourselves as anything but normal guys, but now we got like fans and shit. And like, you don't want to disappoint them. and so you're looking around and you're like, hey, I'm introducing myself and like, I know I'm subscribed to your channel. I'm like, oh, cool. Natalie and Delmar were like, hey, we came here to play in your game. And I was like, oh, wow, that's like, it was a huge compliment.
Right.
But at the same time, it's intimidating.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my first game. And just like Nate, I flew through the doors, got my stuff in my room, and basically had enough time to sit down at the table. And, you're like trying to catch your breath and you have to meet all these strangers. Well, the next day I had a game to run and I went to look for my notes and I didn't have any. So I ran this is my first time running a convention ever. And my second game, I just ran from a blank sheet of paper.
But you had that sheet of paper.
Well, it made me feel like I had something.
You got to have the prop.
Yeah. So, it can be intimidating, but you guys can get through it. And it's like Ted said, a lot of times you're playing with your friends and they're just glad they don't have to sit in a seat and have the butterflies in their stomach. They just get to show up. They didn't do any extra work, have a character, play the game. So I find that even like we're generally going to be our harshest critics.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, like I said, other gamers, especially if there's someone else who's normally the DM, they're just really happy to have someone else DM for a change so they can play the game.
Absolutely.
And you'll get better. It's like anything. You just need to. It's like a muscle. You just keep exercising.
Yeah, and I'll agree with these guys. You get the jitters, beforehand, leading up to it. Once you actually sit down at the table and you're in that quote unquote seat of power, I know when I generally GM, I stand up to get the overview. It keeps my energy levels high. And then, of course, as Dave says, we're our worst critics. I always second guess myself after the fact. I'm like, oh, well, did this happen the way I wanted it to? Did I jump the gun on material that I had prepared for later? So it's just a matter of dealing with the story that you put out there, breathe through it, and let everybody have fun, and you'll have a great time.
So we've already mentioned like 2 DM horror stories. Right? Like, so Matt, who I hear is an excellent DM now, by the way. And this is like 20 years ago, by the way, too. So,
yeah.
And like me actually showing up to a game for a con game with no material prepared that I thought I had. Do you guys have any horror stories you'd like to share?
Oh man.
Or is it or is it really this? It's just not that bad. Over the years, it just blurs and fades into the background.
They kind of blur. I know I've GM'd where like I forgot that I was running, and I totally just had to DM completely on the fly.
That's so embarrassing when you show up at your character, you're sitting at the table ready to play, and everyone's looking at you
You're
expectantly.
sitting in the wrong chair, buddy.
So it's like, well, I'm running tonight? Okay.
Yeah, I picture Ted sitting there ready to play with his character sheet, and then someone just slides the DM screen in front of him. Oh.
I don't think it was quite like that. I think
That's
somebody...
exactly how I remember it.
But, so when you have to run and you weren't prepared, it can totally be like, well, holy crap, what do I do? But if you can think on the fly, or just kind of nudge that star player in your game and say, okay, well, what do you feel like doing tonight? And you just go around the table, one by one, and, just the phrase I always like is, so what are you doing? And let the character's actions guide what happens. And you'd be surprised if you've got players with initiative, how much they can actually take control of a session, and all you need to do is sit back and provide the filler, the NPCs, the monsters.
Pieces.
Right.
So, Nate, now you mentioned something right now. There was a lot more going on that day than what you said. It's kind of personal. I don't know if you want to mention it on camera or not, but you there was a reason why you were running late to that game.
I've blocked it from my memory, so I'm fine with probably sharing it. No one died.
Yeah, but it might have been a concern.
Yeah.
We're all set up for the games. Nate actually wasn't even sure he was going to make the game do you remember why?
I don't know.
This is horrible, dude. Your wife was in the freaking hospital.
That's right. Yeah. Was that when we had the miscarriage scare?
Yeah.
Okay.
Philly Games Con. You're like, I might be running a little late. Tanya's in the hospital. She's having some issues with the pregnancy or whatever. That was then. And I'm like, dude, well, if you can't make it, that's fine. Go take care of your family. So yeah, like, I don't know. That's probably, I don't know if you got anything that tops that. Like, your wife might lose the baby, and you're just flying into the game, so you get stuff on
That's
your
why
mind.
I was late. I was like, I swear I was going to try and make it early. What was the deal?
His wife was out of danger when he came to the game, by the way.
Oh, yeah. We figured
He didn't leave her
everything out.
hanging.
She's still fine. And months later. So.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that was intense. So, yeah, and on top of that, having social anxiety, I'm getting itchy just thinking about the whole weekend.
nice.
So on top of that,
hopefully your wife doesn't watch this video.
And go, you didn't remember that?
You didn't remember when I was in the hospital.
It all blurs together. After a couple hospital visits with the wife and baby, it all kind of jumbles together.
Hey, ladies, if you want to give Nate a beating in the comments, feel free. I think he deserves it on this one. With that, everyone else, you can leave your comments, how you get over the DM anxieties. While you're at it, like, share, and subscribe.
You can come support us on Patreon.
You also join the conversation over on Reddit.
So until next time, stay nerdy.